Now we want to check if the user is between 7 to 9, and if so, we want to not just say one response, we want to give a set of random responses, right? So if you have more than one person playing your program, they won't seem, they won't have the same experience, right? So if I come in and I type in the number 8, the cat's gonna say, "Oh, great, you are in fourth grade," right? And then if somebody else comes in and they type in the number 8, then for them it might say, "You can ride a bicycle." And so we're going to go ahead and program that. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to first check to see if the input is between 7 to 9. An easy way to do that is we're going to copy this block here. And so the way you copy is you hold down the control button, click on the block, and you say duplicate. So we'll put that duplicated if block right at the end of all of the if blocks. We're going to change the input from less than 6, I'm sorry, greater than 6 to less than 10. And now we can say something like, "You can ride a bicycle." Um, and so I'm going to go ahead and run that. We got our introduction. I'm going to go ahead and type in the number 9, which is within the range of greater than 6 and less than 10. Hit enter, and it says you can ride a bicycle. But we don't want it to just say you can ride a bicycle. We want it to say random responses, right? So what we need to do here is first I'm going to make a block, right? We could put all of our, well, let's go ahead and start by putting all our instructions in here. So what we want to do is we want to first make a variable, and we could call it random because it's going to be a random number. And we want to go ahead and set our random number to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 0 just to initialize it. And let's see. I'm going to go to operators, and I'm going to say here pick random. Okay, so I'm going to use this, put it right in here, and it's going to set my random variable. You could see my random variables right here, right? Right now it's set to 0. And I'm going to say pick random from 1 to 3 because, or let's have 4 because we want 4 random responses. So now that if I choose a number between 7 and 9, it's going to come in here and it's going to set my variable random to a random number between 1 and 4. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use an if block. And I guess a better way to do it is to say if else. So I'm going to say if else, and let me build the first condition. I'm going to say if, and I go to the data tab, random is equal to 1, then say you can ride a bicycle. And then I'm going to take another if else, and I'm going to put it right here in the else. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to try to copy this. It's not letting me copy it. Okay. So maybe I can copy this whole if else block. And I'll hold down control, and I'll hit duplicate. Great. I'll put that if in here, and I'll say if random is equal to 2, then say, right, you are almost done with elementary school. Okay. And what's going to happen here is if I type in a number between 7 and 9, this is going to be true, and it's going to come inside, set the random variable to a random number between 1 to 4. Let's assume it sets the random number to 2. Then this is not going to be true, right? Because random is equal to 2, not 1. But this one here is going to be true. So it's going to come into the else. It's going to check this if and say if that's true, which it is, and it's going to do this. And it's going to say you're almost done with elementary school. Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and do that a couple more times. I'll hit duplicate. Now I'm going to change the answer to 3, And I'm going to say, ooh, what can we do if we are 8 years old? You can go to the park, right, and play on the monkey bars. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Control, duplicate again, and this is the last one that I'm going to do. I'm going to put it and say if random's equal to 4, and I'm going to say you can stay up late on Saturdays. And ooh, this last one, I guess we should just put an if because we don't need the else portion. So I'm just going to say if random's equal to 4, then I'm going to do this say. Okay, so let's go ahead and test it out and hit run. We got our intro. I'm going to put in a number between 7 and 9. I'm going to put in 8 and hit enter. And it says you can go play on the park, right, with the monkey bars. I'm going to hit in the number 8 again. And it says you're almost done with elementary school. I'm going to put in the number 9, which is still within our range of 6 to 10, right? And I'm going to hit enter. And it says you can ride a bicycle. So you could see using a random variable, a variable that's set to a random number, and then checking all those random numbers, we can get a random response. And it makes your program just a little bit more interesting. And so instead of having this big block of code here, right, what we can do instead is create a function, right? And it's called a function in programming, but here in Scratch we call it make a block. And so I'm going to hit make a block, and I'm going to put here, let's see, 8. I'm going to put here 7 2 underscore 9. And in programming, we use the underscore a lot to separate words. So instead of using spaces. So I put 7 to 9 because that's what this block is going to do. Check for numbers between 7 to 9. I hit OK. Now I have this new block called 7 to 9. And I have this define. Right? So I'll put the define here on the side. And I'm going to grab all of the instructions that I put inside of the if statement. I'm going to grab them all, put it right here under define 7 to 9. And now I'm going to grab the 7 to 9 block that I just made and put it here in its place. And so what this is doing is, let's assume I do type in the number 7 here for my age. This is not true. It skips this. This next if block expression is not true. It skips the say. And the last expression in the if block is true. Right? 7 is greater than 6, and it is less than 10. So it goes inside, and it's going to execute the 7 to 9 block. So it's going to try to find it, and it finds it. It's right here. Right? And it's going to do all of these instructions. And when it gets to the end, it's going to come back to this 7 to 9 block and continue instruction down, which is going to move up to the forever and ask again. Okay, so I hope you got that. Let me go ahead and try that again and prove to you that it does work. And so we have a bunch of prompts, and I'm going to type in 9 and hit enter. You can ride a bicycle. And then it enters the forever loop again and does it again. I'm going to hit the number 7, hit enter. You can go to the park and play with the monkey bars. I'm going to type in the number 8 and I hit enter. You're almost done with elementary school. So what we've done is create a set of random responses using a block that we defined.